Welcome, Texans for Vaccine Choice. I'm your Executive Director, Jackie Schlegel.
And I'm Rebecca Hardy, your Director of State Policy. And welcome to another edition of the weekly chat about choice.
Today, we are taking on a topic that's really more fun, more exciting, more empowering, I would say.
Yes.
Since day one, since the beginning of Texans for Vaccine Choice, I feel like certain themes have appeared or certain statements. I certainly hear myself saying the same things like over and over. And they really kind of evolve into like our mission statement or just things we're really trying to encourage our members with. And that's one of those things today. So we talk about everybody finding their role. That's a big one. That
we even had a whole segment on finding your role.
That's something we really believe, that everybody has a role in this movement. And this actually kind of ties into that.
It does.
Because a lot of times people ask us like how they can get involved. And like, I don't know what to do. I'm a busy mom, or I work full time. I have all these different aspects of my life, but I want to do something. And that's really how this has come about, because for me personally, I like to share really how it started for me. And that's one conversation at a time.
That's right.
And that is what we're discussing today. And the premise of this is, when we all have these conversations in our daily life, whether at the playground, at the grocery store, at the workplace, that's when we really start to change the conversations and the dialogues, and we have the greatest impact in the state.
That's right. So why don't you tell me what one conversation at a time means?
Okay. Well, so it was just what I said as far as the grocery store, the playground, mommy play groups. I will tell you from my personal experience, I have a 17-year-old, so I've been having these conversations a very long time.
Yes.
And this conversation on vaccines in particular has really changed over the last 17 years. I mean, I certainly remember 17 years ago going to the playground with my newborn or with my infant and my children, and this was something that it just very hostile. It was a very hostile thing to even bring up or mention. I mean, certainly it wasn't a friendly environment. And I can tell you over the years, that's really changed. And as a matter of fact, if you follow me on Facebook personally, you'll know I talk a lot about my coffee shop experiences because I have like the most interesting conversations on this topic of vaccine choice in coffee shops. But people are really open. They are more engaging now, I feel like they have ever been. It's definitely not the conversation we were having 20 years ago, which is very encouraging for me personally. And I also feel like it should be encouraging for our members with Texans for Vaccine Choice, because it's not this scary thing anymore to have these conversations every day in our daily lives.
You know what? My life has not been directly touched by a vaccine injury, but helping lead this movement with you, I hear from moms all the time that say these are not the conversations that I was having even just 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that the conversation is changing, the tides are turning, and it's really encouraging that these conversations are becoming more commonplace and easier.
I mean, 10 years ago, people it was just so hostile, and that you were nuts and you were crazy. How dare you? And occasionally we encounter that, but I have to say, more times than none, it's a very positive experience with people being very open. As a matter of fact, I think that's going to lead into kind of like what we talked about before we started recording. We want to talk about some of our favorite conversations.
Yes. Okay, so why don't you start?
So mine, there's so many.
There's so many.
I mean,
Pick one.
We were sitting here going through just conversation after conversation that we have had and experiences we've had in the community. But mine is a recent one. So just a couple weeks ago, I was speaking at a member meetup in San Antonio, and we had this room reserved, but we ended up having more people come out than we anticipated. Again, a great problem to have. Like, I don't think we would have been having this problem a couple years ago.
You're right.
But today, people are interested. They're showing up. So we had to move outside of the room and go to the just open seating area of the restaurant, which meant I had to speak very loudly to my group. And that meant a lot of people around us got to hear about vaccine choice. So I kind of started.
Lucky for them.
Lucky for them. I apologize that we were having this meeting, but, just thank them for being there and not being angry with us for having this. And they were very nice and welcoming to us. And so I talked about Texans for Vaccine Choice and my story. And afterwards, we have 4 different tables come up and speak to us about vaccine choice. But there was one in particular, one person that really stuck out at me, who is a registered nurse, and she's in a pediatric nurse practitioner program right now. And she said, your talk was very fascinating. A lot of the points you brought up this is not what we're talking about in school, in the classroom environment. We've been told that you are radical anti-vaxxers, that, you're all crazy, but I look around and you're just moms and dads, and you're here wanting to make informed decisions for your children. And she says, when you held up that vaccine schedule, because we have a schedule that we hold up and we kind of talk about, as far as parental concerns, parents are concerned about this schedule.
Yeah, this is a schedule that's never really been tested.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And parents have concerns. And so I went over that, and she grabbed the paper and she looked at it and she says, this was shocking to me when you put this on paper and you start to answer or ask some of these questions that, I don't know that we have answers to, and certainly they're not answering these questions in my classroom discussions. The only discussions we're really having is you guys are crazy and we need to stop you. She's like, this is eye-opening to me.
It's another time we've heard the only thing that they ever learn is all vaccines are safe and effective for all people all the time.
And she says, when you are back in town again, I would love to sit down and speak with you. And it was a great discussion, and we exchanged contact information. But this is one story of oodles.
Yes.
And this happens every single day.
Yes.
And so that's my most recent favorite. What about you?
This is kind of a blanket category of customer service representative. So during primaries, we were growing. We had a lot of business to take care of as an organization, and there was a time I was on the phone with Apple, a time I was on the phone with Verizon, and with a t-shirt vendor in Houston that I had literally picked out any, mini, miny, mo from t-shirt vendors in a particular area in Houston. And every single one of those conversations, as soon as I had to give my email address to, a link to my account, vaccine choice. Now, what is that? And I got to give my little 30-second elevator pitch, and just across the board, that is so awesome. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Oh, you know what? We have a 1-year-old and we're delayed vaccinating him. I should become a member. Yes, you should. So, it's just been so fun, even just in the day-to-day business of TFVC, literally the business of growing our organization and taking care of the little business details of TFVC. We're spreading the message, we're planting seeds, and we're growing our numbers.
So speaking of planting seeds,
yes,
let's talk a little bit about tips to engage, because a lot of questions we get, I think in particular, people are like, you're so bold, and I don't know if I could ever do that. And I feel like sometimes people think we're diving into these conversations with a 1,500 page PowerPoint on the issue, and that's not what we're doing here. As a matter of fact, these are just little conversations where a lot of times you're just planting seeds. We always like to just be very non-judgmental.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, the media has done a really good job of just pitting parent against parent and creating these mommy wars against each other. And really, as moms, we can be our own worst enemies by falling into that trap.
That's right.
Right?
Tip 1 is to not engage in the mommy wars.
Yeah, do not engage in them.
Yeah, just treat the others as you would want want to be treated. If you were, just learning on your journey towards vaccine choice.
Absolutely. Be respectful. Be kind. Yes. You can have a conversation with somebody, even if you don't necessarily agree. So I would say, don't engage in the mommy wars. Keep it kind and compassionate. Be the friendly face of vaccine choice. Yes. But really don't think that just, that you're only planting a seed, that's not going to evolve into something as well. Yeah. Sometimes individuals need you just to plant a seed, and somebody else is going to come along and kind of water this. So when you talk to somebody, don't feel like you have to lay out the entire movement in a 2-minute pitch, right?
Right.
Like,
correct.
Yes. Right? You're just really giving them the basics.
Yes.
And I know at Texans for Vaccine Choice, we try really, really hard to stay focused on the parental rights, because that's the least threatening, number one. It's our fundamental principle, number two, but it's really the common denominator that we can all wrap our brains around.
That's right. No matter where you are, parental rights should be important for you.
Very, very important. And choice. We believe that that's very important as well. We really make this very easy, right?
Yes, we do.
As far as getting out in the community and engaging, we have some fun material.
So we call these, our parents call the shots cards. These are just fun ways to leave information about. We have a whole web page dedicated to helping people navigate their exemption rights in the state, and this is just a really easy way to direct people to that web page. And we also have our push cards, kind of our story, and how to connect with us on social media and online.
Yeah, this is great. Also, wearing your t-shirt.
Oh my goodness, the t-shirt.
The t-shirts, with baby onesies. Love to see babies in the baby onesies. But those are great because when you're out in the community and you have a shirt on, a lot of times people will ask about you. We have stickers. I have a bumper sticker. That's a lot of fun. That's gotten some questions.
We have bumper magnets.
Magnets.
All of those things can be found in our store at texansforvaccinechoice.com/store. You
can be like a walking billboard for Texans for Vaccine Choice. But you will be surprised how many people will stop and say, oh, so what does that mean? Yeah. Vaccine choice. I hadn't heard that. Or, are you anti-vaccine? Which gives you a really good opportunity to just kind of set the record straight on who we are and what we stand for. So we want to hear from you.
Yes.
I want to hear your best vaccine choice conversation on the playground. We have hundreds of them.
Yes.
Doctors and parents and moms and dads and teachers, and it is just something that this conversation is not going away, but you can be a part of changing the dialogue. I have a 17-year-old, and the conversation has changed so much in 17 years. What can happen in another 17?
That is correct.
Right?
Yes.
Like, we could be in a completely different place in 5, 10, 15 years simply from our members standing up and saying, I can't do all of these things for the movement, but I can stand up and every day have one conversation at a time and change the dialogue.